If you'd rather step on a Lego barefoot in the dark than attend a crowded concert, congratulations. Your brain just saved you from a psychological nightmare that most people are too distracted to notice. And no, you're not damaged. You're just seeing something everyone else is blind to. Picture this. It's Saturday night. Your phone buzzes. Hey, we're all meeting at that new downtown spot. Super packed, but the vibe is amazing. And instantly, your soul leaves your body. Not because you hate fun, but because your brain just calculated the price of that vibe and decided bankruptcy isn't worth it. So let's get this straight. You're not broken, you're not boring, and you're not the problem. Your psychology is playing chess, while everyone else is playing checkers. I'm going to break down what's really happening in that beautiful, complicated head of yours without the soft motivational fluff. 5 reasons. Before we dive in, hear me. You don't need to fix this by forcing yourself into louder rooms. That's what insecure people do, copy the crowd so nobody questions them. You're allowed to choose environments that don't drain you, and you're allowed to stop explaining it like you're asking permission. The goal isn't to become extroverted. The goal is to stay functional, clear, and grounded without paying for it with your sanity and without pretending you enjoyed it after. Just own that. 1. Your brain has zero chill, and that's actually genius. Most people walk into a crowd with a built-in spam filter. Their brains delete 90% of the input, ignore that guy's laugh, ignore the flickering light, ignore the 20 conversations stacking on top of each other. Their nervous system is basically on low power mode. Yours isn't. Yours is screenshotting everything, recording, analyzing, cross-referencing. Scientists call this sensory processing sensitivity, the research often discussed through Elaine Aron's work on highly sensitive people. The punchline. Roughly 15 to 20% of people process sensory and emotional information more deeply. 1 in 5. That means you're not an alien, you're just running a different operating system. Every weight shift, every micro-expression, every tiny change in tone, every room vibe shift, your brain is tracking it all at once. It's like everyone else is watching life in 480p, and you're stuck in 8K IMAX you never asked for. And your brain doesn't just collect this data, it stores it, it tags it. It pulls it up later like a lawyer presenting evidence. That interaction from 3 weeks ago that nobody remembers. Your brain filed it under possibly relevant and keeps reviewing it. People call that overthinking. I call it your neural network doing what it was built to do, detect patterns and prevent harm. And here's the part most people don't like to admit this trait kept humans alive. While the loud ones were vibing around the fire, your ancestors heard the predator in the bushes. They noticed the poisonous plant. They sensed danger before it arrived. You're not too much. You're exactly what survival needed. Modern society just isn't built for people who actually pay attention. If you've ever felt your battery drop just from walking into a room, comment. I feel this. I want to see how many of you are running the same operating system. And if you want, hit like, so this reaches the quiet people who never search for it but desperately need the explanation. Hinder 2. You're not antisocial. You're anti-BS. Let's stop pretending. You don't hate people, you hate the performance. In crowds, everyone's wearing masks. The I'm having so much fun mask, the I'm totally listening mask, the I'm fine, everything's fine mask while their eye is twitching. And you can see through it. Not because you're judgmental, but because your brain is constantly translating the real conversation happening underneath the words, body language, energy subtext, the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Psychologists sometimes describe this as high perceptual sensitivity. Your emotional radar is tuned so high, you're basically a human lie detector who never applied for the job. And yes, research has linked preference for solitude with higher emotional insight. In some samples, one frequently cited line is that people who enjoy solitude can score higher on measures connected to emotional intelligence. Translation, you're not socially inept. You're socially sophisticated. You just refuse to play pretend. That's why small talk feels like chewing cardboard while everyone else acts like it's a 5-star meal. You can do it, sure. You're capable, but at what cost? Your nervous system craves substance, depth, honesty, real connection. So you'd rather have one raw, real conversation at 3 a.m. than attend 50 networking events where everyone's selling their highlight reel. That isn't a flaw. That's integrity. 3. Your reward system doesn't clap for crowds. Here's where your brain gets spicy. Dopamine, your reward chemical, doesn't throw fireworks for you the way it does for extroverts. Some people walk into a party and their brains throw a dopamine parade. Confetti music, yes, more people, your brain. Cricket sounds. Instead, introversion research often points to other systems that reward calm, focus, and inner processing. Acetylcholine gets mentioned a lot in this context because it's involved in attention and learning, and it tends to support the kind of inward sustained focus many quiet people thrive on. The point isn't to worship a neurotransmitter. The point is simple: your brain gets its reward from different inputs. Reading at midnight, a solo walk where nobody asks you anything, sitting in a quiet room and letting your thoughts line up like soldiers. While some people need external stimulation to feel alive, you need internal space to access your full operating system. And neuroscientists have noted structural differences that can show up with more reflective, planning heavy cognition, like thicker gray matter in regions of the prefrontal cortex, associated with complex thinking and decision making in some studies. So when you look like you're doing nothing, your brain is often doing everything: processing, connecting, creating, planning. You're not wasting time. You're composing symphonies in your head while other people are looping elevator music. That's not weird. That's high-level cognition. Quick check: what drains you faster, crowds, small talk, or group chats? Drop one word in the comments. That single word tells me what video I should make next, so you actually get content that hits your exact pain point. 4. You absorb emotions like a Wi-Fi router. Ever walk into a room and instantly know something's off, even when everyone's smiling? That's not magic. That's your nervous system picking up signals. Psychology talks about mirror neurons and empathy networks that help us resonate with other people's emotional states. In people with high sensitivity, that resonance can feel dialed up. You don't just observe emotions, you download them. Spend an hour in a crowd, and you're not only managing your own feelings, you're accidentally absorbing everyone else's stress, anxiety, excitement, and chaos like an emotional sponge. That's psychological overload. No wonder you need 3 business days to recover from a 2-hour event. Your system was trying to process 100 people's emotional data while also remembering to breathe and act normal. But here's the upside: this makes you terrifyingly good at reading subtext. You sense what people need before they say it. Most people barely understand their own emotions. You're out here understanding everyone's emotions. That's not a curse. That's a gift most people would crack under 5. You're not running from life. You're running toward yourself. Society has this weird obsession with equating loud and busy with successful and happy. If you're not at every event, replying instantly, posting every moment surrounded by people 24/7, you're missing out. No, a lot of people are missing themselves. Silence isn't empty. It's where clarity lives. Solitude isn't loneliness. Loneliness is pain. Solitude can be medicine, and that distinction matters. Research on loneliness, like the work associated with John Cacioppo, shows it can trigger threat responses in the brain and overlap with systems involved in distress. But being alone by choice isn't the same thing as being socially starved. In fact, research by Reed Larson on voluntary solitude points to something most loud people can't handle. Chosen time alone can support reflection and emotional reset, not automatic sadness, sometimes the opposite. Sometimes solitude is where you meet yourself, without the noise, without the masks, without the performance. You're opting out of a system that wasn't built for minds that think deeply, feel deeply, and see deeply. The quietest rooms often hold the loudest truths. Your peace isn't isolation, it's liberation. So the next time someone asks, why don't you go out more? Understand what they're really asking. Why don't you drain yourself to fit into spaces that weren't designed for you? And you don't owe them that sacrifice. You're not broken, you're not boring, you're not antisocial. You're built for depth in a world addicted to noise, and that's exactly what makes you dangerous in the best way. Now tell me, are you team crowds give me life? Or team I'd rather befriend a cactus? Drop it in the comments. If this hit a little too close to home, tap like. And if you want more psychology breakdowns like this same straight talk, no fluff, subscribe.